Hi all, this lesson is on the factors affecting optimum weight. And by optimum weight, we mean the ideal weight for the maximal performance, the best performance in your sport. And this differs between performers for a number of reasons. Firstly, between different sports, a different optimum weight is going to be required. So if we think about a weightlifter or a rugby player, they're going to have a quite a high optimum weight because they need to have a large amount of muscle mass. When we compare that to a runner, a long distance runner, they need to be relatively light because they don't want to have a high percentage of fat or muscle mass. Even within sports, performers could have a different optimum weight compared to the people around them based on their position. So if we think about sports such as rugby, the forwards and particularly the prop forwards who require a large amount of weight in order to be stable in the scrum, their optimum weight is going to be a lot higher than a scrum half who needs to be more agile and needs to be a little bit quicker around the base of the scrum. A popular way of recording our weight is through the BMI scale, and BMI stands for Body Mass Index. And this is where we compare our height to our weight in a chart as shown here, and we get a score and an overall description such as underweight, healthy, overweight, obese, or extremely obese. However, this isn't a brilliant measure for sports performers because it doesn't take into account muscle mass. So a weightlifter or a rugby player or perhaps a boxer who is going to have a large amount of muscle, they're likely to come out on this chart, the BMI scale, as extremely obese. But this doesn't really tell the whole picture because they might be perfectly healthy and actually at the optimum weight for their sport, but because they are very heavy due to their muscle mass, they come out as extremely obese. There are four factors that affect optimum weight. And in terms of exam questions, this is the most likely question that you're going to get asked on this topic is to name or describe factors affecting optimum weight. So it's really important to memorize and revise this table. The factors are, firstly, sex or gender. So males are more likely to be heavier than females due to their amount of muscle mass that they hold. Height, so a taller person is going to have a higher optimum weight for their small than a smaller person who plays in the same position or the same sport. So if we think about two strikers in football, if you had Harry Kane, who's quite tall, and Sergio Aguero, who's a lot smaller, Harry Kane's optimum weight is going to be higher than Sergio Aguero's because he's taller, so his optimum weight will be higher. Bone structure. So some people naturally have a larger frame than others, which means their optimum weight's going to be a little bit higher. And finally, muscle girth. So two people who are the same gender, the same height, they could even have the same bone structure, but they could be completely different weights because of the amount of muscle mass that they hold. In order for a sports performer to move towards their optimum weight for their sport and performance in their sport, then they have to consider energy balance. Energy balance is how many calories we take in and how many calories we burn off. And if this number is the same, so the number we take in, the number we burn off through exercise is the same, then we'll maintain our weight and it won't change. If we start to take in more calories, so you're eating a lot of calories and you're not burning off many calories, then obviously you're going to start to gain weight. And if you stop eating as much and you're not taking in as many calories, but you start to exercise more and burn off more calories, then you're going to start to lose weight. However, things aren't quite as simple as this because we also have to consider our metabolic rate. Now, metabolic rate differs for every individual, and it's how fast we burn off calories at rest. So some people have a very high metabolic rate and they can eat a lot of food and not exercise very often, but they still burn off their calories so they don't end up putting on too much weight. Other people have a really low metabolic rate and they don't eat very much and they can do lots and lots of exercise, but still find it hard to lose weight. So to summarize, if a performer wants to reach a peak performance in their sport, they must consider the optimum weight for their sport. In order to do this, they must consider their individual factors affecting their optimum weight and also their energy balance and their metabolic rate.